Gogol's First Day by Jhumpa Lahiri. Summary. Gogol Ganguly, the protagonist, grapples with his unique name. Named after the Russian author, Nikolai Gogol, Gogol feels embarrassed and frustrated by his unconventional and unfamiliar moniker. He faces challenges in school as classmates mock and misunderstand his name. Gogol's discomfort with his identity intensifies as he grows older, reflecting the broader theme of cultural identity and the tension between his Bengali heritage and his American surroundings. The chapter delves into the complexities of navigating one's identity in a multicultural context, setting the stage for Gogol's ongoing journey. About the author. Jhumpa Lahiri, born on July 11, 1967, in London, is a highly acclaimed American author of Indian descent. Known for her poignant and evocative storytelling, Lahiri explores themes of identity, belonging, and the immigrant experience. Raised in the United States by Bengali parents, Lahiri's writing often delves into the complexities of cultural assimilation. Her debut collection of short stories, Interpreter of Maladies, won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 2000. Lahiri's subsequent works, including novels like The Namesake and The Lowland, continue to receive praise for their eloquent prose and insightful exploration of human relationships and displacement. Question 1. Read the extracts and answer the questions. Extract 1. Gogol Ganguly is anyone but Gogol. Question 1. Why was Gogol very unhappy about a new name given to him? Answer. Gogol was happy with his original name as he was used to it. Gogol did not want himself to be called Nikhil just in school while everyone in the family knew him as Gogol. He might have been happy if that name was used by everyone, both in the family and outside. He could not identify with the new name given to him and felt that Nikhil was a stranger. He did not want to look at himself as a stranger. Question 2. How do Gogol's parents try to convince him into accepting the new name? Answer. Gogol's parents tried to convince him by saying that all their Bengali friends in America or back in Calcutta had two names. On seeing Gogol's hesitation, they wrote his new name on a sheet of paper and asked him to copy the name over 10 times for him to get used to the name. They also assured him that he would always be Gogol for them. Question 3. Why was Gogol not comforted by the explanation of his parents? Answer. Gogol does not understand or accept the explanation his parents give him, though they feel they have comforted him. He is confused that he is now a person with two identities, one private and one public. Question 4. How does the writer show that Gogol is confused? Answer. Gogol is afraid to be Nikhil, someone he does not know and who does not know him. Extract 2. My parents wants me, Madam, at a young age. PowerPoint 26 and 33. Question 1. When does Gogol begin to speak to the principal, after his father has left or before? What do you think that shows? Answer. Gogol, who is otherwise quiet upon being introduced to the principal, begins talking after his father leaves. He confides in Mrs. Lapidus, the principal, that his parents want him to have another name at school. He preferred being called Gogol, a name with which he identified himself. This shows that Gogol does not trust his father to retain his nickname as the official one. This also shows how badly he wanted to be called Gogol. Question 2. How is the principal portrayed? Answer. She is portrayed as a kind person concerned about her pupils' comfort level. She decides to use the name Gogol, which he is familiar with. She also appreciates his handwriting, though she could have pointed out that he had written the L backwards. Question 3. How and why is the atmosphere in the classroom different from what it used to be a generation earlier? Answer. In Gogol's school, the the focus is on the children feeling comfortable in a new and strange environment. The teacher is dressed in casual clothes. The pet names of the children are written against their formal names on the board so that the familiar names could be used. In Gogol's father's days, just a generation earlier, the stress was on a proper code of conduct. Teachers were addressed formally as sir or madam, and students in smart uniforms went by their formal names. Extract 3. She bends down so that. That is our wish. Para 5 to 18. Question 1. She has not had to go through this confusion with the other 2 Indian children in the school. She opens up the folder and examines the immunization record and the birth certificate. A. Who is she in the above lines and what was the confusion? Answer. She in the above lines refers to Mrs. Lapidus, the principal of the school where Gogol is admitted. The confusion was about Gogol's name. His father called him Nikhil while the records had the name Gogol. B. What did she see in the school records? Answer. The documents she had did not feature the name Nikhil anywhere. It had the name Gogol, both in the immunization record and the birth certificate. C. How does the parent react to the situation? Answer. The parent was insistent that the school record should maintain Nikhil as his name and not Gogol. Question 2. What shows that the principal at first thinks the boy is just nervous and tries to win his confidence? Answer. The principal bends down so that her face is in the same level with the boy's and puts a hand on his shoulder before asking him how old he is. This gesture shows the principal's compassion towards Gogol. Question 3. How does Ashok try to show the principal that Gogol is bilingual? What does he, in doing that, reveal to the principal? Answer. In order to show to the principal that Gogol knows English, Ashok addresses his son in careful, accented English. But he calls his son by his nickname, by mistake. This revealed that his son had 2 names, a fact which was by far not known to the principal. Question 4. The nod means she accepts. What does Mrs. Lapidus accept? Answer. Mrs. Lapidus, the school principal, nodded when Ashok expressed his wish that his son be addressed as Nikhil, instead of Gogol in school. Mrs. Lapidus accepted Ashok's wish. Question 5. Mrs. Lapidus then asks for the reason. Reason for what? Answer. Mrs. Lapidus wanted to know the reason for Ashok's wish of his son Gogol being called by the name Nikhil when clearly it seems that his son prefers the name Gogol. Question 6. Is Ashok able to explain the reason? What does he say and what effect does it have on Mrs. Lapidus? Answer. On being asked for a reason, Ashok says that it is simply his and his wife's wish. Mrs. Lapidus does not quite follow Ashok and wonders if Nikhil is a nickname or a middle name for his son. When Ashok firmly clarifies that it is neither his nickname nor does he have a middle name, Mrs. Lapidus wonders why the boy doesn't respond on being called Nikhil. Question 7. How is humor introduced in the way Gogol's father talks to him in English? Answer. Gogol's father speaks to him in English with an American accent to impress the principal. This further bewilders Gogol, who has never heard his father talk to him that way. The situation is hilarious in the way it brings out the way an Indian tries to impress the American in an American context. Question 8. How is the humorous situation extended? Answer. The principal realizes that Gogol has another name and does not understand or accept his father's explanation of Nikhil being his good name or school name. Appreciating the text. Question 8. What effort does the principal take to make Gogol comfortable in school? Answer. Being an American, Mrs. Lapidus was confused why Mr. Ganguly was insistent on a different name for Gogol at school. She was unable to understand where the new name would fit in Gogol's records. She also observed Gogol's discomfort in using a different name for school alone. She took the responsibility to help the child. She tore up the old registration form and typed a new one with Gogol as the name. Mrs. Lapidus then took Gogol to the classroom where there were a number of students with nicknames. She also made it a point to inform the parents that due to their son's preference, his original name had been retained. Question B. Do you approve of the reason Gogol's parents give for the name change in school? Give reasons. Answer. It is not very clear why Gogol's parents wanted a different name in school for Gogol. Gogol was a nickname and would not be appropriate in an American school. They wanted him to be comfortable with the new environment and blend into American society, without calling for undue attention. Or probably, the parents were not used to the practice of using nicknames in school. The parents should have checked before troubling their son to get used to a different name. As understanding parents, they should have made him comfortable before he joined school. They did not understand the psychological impact the new name had on Gogol, particularly when he had two different names, one for home and one for school. Question C. Can you guess from para 35 what little Gogol found specially interesting in school? Answer. In school, it seems that Gogol found the art classes to be specifically interesting. These were his favorite hours of the week. He carved his name with paper clips into the bottoms of clay bowls and cups. He stuck uncooked pasta on cardboards. Below his paintings, he never forgot to leave his signature in fat brush strokes. Question D. How does the three character in the story adjusting to new situations and how do each of them responds in different ways? First, Gogol. Situation. Gogol is in a complicated situation where he is attending school for the first time and his parents want him to be addressed as Nikhil in school. This is a name that he has never responded to. He doesn't even identify with this name. How they respond. Gogol does not respond at all on being called Nikhil by Mrs. Lapidus on the first day of his school. Second, Ashok. Situation. Ashok had come to get his son admitted in his new American school. The environment is quite different in this school than what Ashok was used to in India. Here, teachers and principals prioritize the students' wishes, rather than their parents, a norm much new to Ashok. His son wanted to be known as Gogol, his nickname, whereas Ashok and his wife wanted him to be called Nikhil. Much to Ashok's disappointment, the school principal, Mrs. Lapidus, wanted to call his son by his nickname, Gogol. How they respond. Ashok tries to convince Mrs. Lapidus that his son should be called by the name, Nikhil, in school. When Mrs. Lapidus wonders why his son does not respond to any name but Gogol, Ashok starts losing his patience. He insists that it is his and his wife's wish that their son should be called Nikhil. Third, Mrs. Lapidus. Situation. Mrs. Lapidus found herself in a unique situation where one of her students supposedly had two names. The student in question wanted to be addressed by one name, whereas his parents wanted to call him by some other name. How they respond. Mrs. Lapidus acts as a mediator between Ashok and his son, trying to figure out what Ashok's son's name might be. In spite of Ashok's insistence that he should be called Nikhil, Mrs. Lapidus decides to call him Gogol since he did not respond to anything else.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more updates.